Hello there. So I wanted to do a quick video about the immune system. I think the immune system can be one of the trickiest systems, and understanding the immune system is really going to help in your understanding of the articles as it relates to the coronavirus. So here, let me share my screen, and I'm going to show a few things. First, non-specific defenses, and then specific defenses as it relates to the immune system. Let me get this share. Ooh, I think I could do it like this. Ooh, that's even better. There we go. Okay. Let me present this. All right. So I really like this chart. It breaks up the two understandings of the immune system really well. First, your non-specific defenses against anything that might invade, and then your specific defenses that are going to attack specific things that are recognized. So we'll start here on particularly the first line of defense, and that's the skin. Your skin has multiple layers. All of those layers provide you protection from possible pathogens in your environment. If you get a cut in that skin, of course, your body is going to freak out and create this second line of defense that we'll talk about. But also important is that anywhere you don't have skin, anywhere that you need an opening, you will always have a mucous membrane. And I want to focus on those for a second. So mucous membrane lining body cavities and canals that lead to the outside, chiefly the respiratory, digestive, and urogenitalia tracts. So both urinary and reproductive systems kind of together here. And this would be male and female. What I like about this part of it is a lot of people understand that they have mucous membranes lining their respiratory system, particularly their nose, but they forget about these other places. Anywhere where you have an external opening, there's always going to be a mucous membrane there to protect you. I also like to think about this organism. I got a chance to handle these before. This is a lamprey. It's a parasitic organism that attaches with this kind of suction mouth to suck the blood out of fish. But it doesn't have scales. It doesn't have this like skin-like feature to protect itself. So it has a mucous membrane all along it that protects itself from pathogens in the water. Kind of a cool idea. These are prehistoric organisms. I think they've been around in the fossil record for over 300 million years. And they use these mucous membranes just like we do really effectively. If this first line of defense fails you, you'll have your second line of defense. There's a lot of vocabulary that goes on here, so I'll try to break it down to the simplest I can, and particularly relate it to the understanding you need. So whenever you have an injury, let's say you have a piece of wood that stabs into you, you're going to have inflammation. The idea of this inflammation is it brings white blood cells that are an important part of your immune system to that location to start the fight. Either a direct fight in that basically eating up those or engulfing those pathogens, or creating that later immune response. So white blood cells, you kind of have two main kinds. So you have the phagocytes, which are able to engulf and ingest. So these are mostly what we're talking about when we are talking about non-specific defenses. But then you have the lymphocytes, which are going to get to our next topic, which end up producing the antibodies to create those specific defenses. So these white blood cells are not just one thing, they're many. That's an important part of the story. As it relates to the coronavirus, it's important to understand how these relate to what we call viral pneumonia. So I'll read this and then I'll refer to this picture. So viral pneumonia is an infection of your lungs caused by a virus. The most common cause is the flu, but you can also get viral pneumonia from the common cold and other viruses. These nasty germs usually stick to the upper part of your respiratory system, but the trouble starts when they get down into your lungs. then the air sacs in your lungs get infected and inflamed, and they fill up with fluid. Basically, what happens is here, so the virus enters the respiratory tract. You have mucous membranes trying to do their best to keep it back, but sometimes it can get down to the deepest parts of your lungs, to the alveoli, where the gas exchange actually occurs. So O2 leaving to your body, CO2 entering. And when these get infected and inflamed, partly trying to protect themselves, remember, inflammation can be a helpful thing in many parts of the body, but not here. When these get infected and inflamed, they fill up with fluid. When they fill up with fluid, they can no longer carry the gases that are needed and exchanged at these locations for your body. So this is really bad at this point. And typically, when viruses produce pneumonia, this is when a person's going to require hospitalization to deal with this problem. So anything that weakens your body's defenses, immune system, can raise your chances of getting pneumonia. So we have those non-specific defenses, but then we have the specific defenses too. I like to think about those specific defenses as it relates to the primary and secondary immune response. I particularly like this one because it focuses on antibodies that are really important. So notice you have your first exposure to an antigen. An antigen is something on the surface of a pathogen that can be recognized. And your B cells start to take over. Ooh, they recognize it. They get activated. Then they start to produce antibodies. We'll go over what these antibodies do in a second. And then they start to deal with it. Things go well. So those antibodies get reduced, but they stick around. They don't go away ever again. They're there for the next time. And what happens? You have that nasty bugger, that virus, that bacteria pop up again with its antigens. Your body's like, no, no, thank you. Antibodies, activation, kill, clump, and things are good to go. This time, you're able to suppress that virus, suppress that bacteria like you weren't before, and they made it cause damage. Let me take you through this image. So antigens are structural parts of a virus. In the novel coronavirus, a series of spikes on the outside help the virus spread. The virus uses these spikes to bind to cells and then infect them. Remember, viruses are only good when they can enter a cell. To enter a cell, they have to hook to the cell. And that's what these antigens are really for the virus. But your body can hopefully recognize these. So these spikes can be neutralized or blocked by antibodies. Antibodies are proteins produced by the immune system to fight infection. The problem with the coronavirus is no one has these antibodies. It's brand new. So people are getting infected. It's the first time their body has ever seen it. The body needs to create this primary immune response to it that sometimes can be slow. And by the time it kind of works, the virus has gone too far, has created pneumonia, and now we have big problems for the person. The hope, of course, you have Bill Gates throwing money into this and all sorts of other people, is to produce a vaccine. So if we produce a vaccine, we can get antibody production in healthy people that have not had the virus. So when they get exposed to the virus, they have protection. They can be like, oh, I recognize you, antigen. Clump up the virus. It never infects host cells. You have no problem. And that's hopefully the goal. So hopefully this presentation, if you're struggling with these articles, gives you an idea of some of the tougher parts of the immune system, how it works with first it's non-specific, and then it's specific defenses. Where you're going to want to focus on is probably this inflammatory response, because this is basically good at parts of the body, like on your skin, but can become particularly bad when it happens in the alveoli of your lungs. So good luck. If you have questions, let me know.